Coming up, empowering teachers to inspire the next generation of aviators inside our high school symposium.
A coastal trek in the Sweepstakes Super Cub, and get an aerial look at hurricane damage.
Plus, they shed blood and limb in the name of freedom, giving them an escape via general aviation. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
Celebrate 20 years of Sonex aircraft by building and flying your dream. Quick handling, fun and capable kit aircraft models to suit your flying passions. Get the best performance per dollar with Sonex aircraft.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haynes and Melissa Rudinger.
The people have spoken. The balance of power in the United States House of Representatives has changed. Several key figures that have a major impact on general aviation legislation are out the door. We're tracking what it means for you.
And the biggest change is new leadership in the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Representative Bill Schuster of Pennsylvania did not run again. He's been chairman of the committee and also the biggest voice for handing over air traffic control to a private corporation controlled by the airlines. With the Democrats taking the House, they will appoint a new chair. A surprise in the Great Plains, Oklahoma's 5th Congressional District flipped blue, ousting Congressman Steve Russell. A pilot, aircraft owner, and AOPA Hartramp Award winner, he's been a big proponent for general aviation. Meanwhile, in Florida, it appears at the time of taping, at least, that former Governor Rick Scott will be the newest United States Senator from that state. He's an advocate for aviation and a business jet operator. AOPA's political team is watching carefully how this will impact you.
Over on the House side, the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee now will turn over to, the leadership will turn over to Peter DeFazio from Oregon, who has been a longtime member of the House. And it looks like Rick Larson from the state of Washington will become the Aviation Subcommittee Chairman. We did lose a lot of GA caucus members in this election due to members running for other office or retirements or just election results. So right now we're about 55 members down from the last Congress. And so we have our work cut out ahead of us to establish relationships, rebuild the caucus, and really educate members on general aviation issues. So we're really looking forward to that. It's going to be a challenging and fun Congress.
So a real loss in Oklahoma was Steve Russell getting defeated at the last minute when he was ahead in the polls like that. Good guy, being a GA pilot, fun to talk to, ran into him all the time in Oshkosh. He's walking around in shorts and flip-flops and looks just like another pilot. So he'll be missed.
He will be, but a lot of our other good friends are still there, like Sam Graves and Representative Abraham from Louisiana.
So yeah, we'll move forward with who we got and try to educate some of the others and get them on board too.
Jim and his staff will have their work cut out for them. They will. Okay. And another change could be coming to Washington soon. The Wall Street Journal is reporting there is a new candidate for FAA administrator. Acting Administrator Dan Elwell has been on the job for 10 months. The Journal is reporting that Elwell has withdrawn his bid to keep the job long term. They're saying the front runner now is Steve Dixon, a former Delta Airlines executive. Dixon is a pilot and was reportedly against ATC privatization. Also in the mix still might be President Trump's personal pilot. That's who he wants. No word yet on the timing, but we will keep you updated as we learn more.
And the FAA is working to get more aircraft into the flight training fleet. The agency is proposing a rule that would allow experimental light sport aircraft to be used for commercial flight training. The FAA originally thought a large number of factory-built LSAs would be sold and could be used for sport pilot training, but that market has remained smaller than the FAA expected. The FAA is currently accepting public comments on the rule.
And now let's talk about getting more kids into aviation, and more specifically, using aviation to get more kids into STEM programs. That's science, technology, engineering, and math. This week, more than 300 teachers and others interested in STEM education programs gathered in Louisville, Kentucky. They came from some 40 states to AOPA's 4th annual High School Aviation STEM Symposium. They included both teachers already using the AOPA curriculum.
What I was really surprised with when I started teaching the AOPA STEM curriculum was the smiles on the kids' faces when we did the projects. When we built the wind tunnel and we started testing things and did the heavy lift balloon program, it was fun. And so I think that to show the kids that it's fun and engaging and expose them to something they're not as familiar with. Aviation for most young people is a foreign subject, and so we're bringing it to them, we're making it accessible, and they're having a good time learning it.
And those looking to see what a difference aviation STEM programs could make in their schools.
I've actually learned quite a bit, and we'll be able to share quite a bit of information with the folks at our school.
The AOPA 9th grade aviation STEM curriculum is being taught in some 80 schools nationwide. The 10th grade program is now being field tested in 25 schools, and teachers who use the AOPA material say it makes a huge impact.
Our kids are alive, they're excited, they're going to their science teachers, hey, how come we're not doing these cool projects? Aviation's done really cool stuff. The math department's like, wait a minute, how are you bringing this all to life? I'm like, it is all AOPA, you can fly. It is amazing. These kids are excited. They're wanting to be in school. They want to stay in school. Can I skip 5th period to hang out with aviation 10th graders? No, you have to get the class. And that's where it all starts snowballing. Parents are getting excited.
As we've already mentioned, the AOPA high school program is all about getting more kids interested in STEM subjects. There's an even more important goal, though, bringing more girls and minorities into aviation and technical fields. Many of the speakers at the symposium talked about how diversity makes the industry better.
Because diversity enhances perspective, and it helps us see things through a different lens. Sometimes seeing things that, quite frankly, we didn't know were there before just because other people see them differently.
Well, what is diversity? And we say, well, is it racial, ethnic, gender diversity and this visible diversity we see? Or is it diversity of thought, diversity of background, diversity of experience, diversity of knowledge? Why is it either or? Why can't it be both? And in fact, a lot of the times when you go and you kind of quote unquote focus on that gender, ethnic, racial diversity, you're going to get some of those quote unquote lesser included things with them. And one of the great examples of that is the famed Tuskegee Airmen that Houston Captain Mills was talking about earlier. The Tuskegee Airmen helped us win World War II, hands down, period, dot. And the reason why they were able to do it is because they were such great pilots because they had a different perspective.
The symposium was hosted by UPS, which just so happens to fly one of the world's largest cargo airlines based in Louisville. UPS opened up their Worldport operations for the teachers and let them fly their simulators.
This is the home of UPS Worldport. UPS is all points air hub. This is the center point of our entire airline operation. UPS operates almost 250 heavy jets around the world, delivering millions of packages every day to customers worldwide.
This is the largest automated package handling facility in the world. More than 2 million packages a day. And in most cases, each package is touched only twice by human hands. A human unloads it from a cargo container, and then some 155 miles of conveyor belts, optical scanners, trolleys, tilt trays, and the like sort and deliver packages to the outbound staging area where a human loads the cargo container. And why Louisville?
So Louisville's in a great position geographically. We're within 2 hours flight time of 75% of the U.S. population, 4 hours flight time of 95% of the U.S. population.
UPS Airlines is one of the world's largest, flying to more than 220 countries and territories. Now the bulk of pilot training happens here, with full motion simulators for most of the aircraft in the UPS fleet. Simulators teachers attending the STEM Symposium are going to get to fly. The simulator instructor is a UPS intern who's working towards becoming a future UPS pilot.
At any given time, we have between 12 and 15 interns, and they really do help out. They are a key part of what we do. They are part of what we term the UPS Flight Path program. When they successfully complete the internship here, they will go on to a small cargo carrier, Ameriflight, and fly for Ameriflight, go through a special training and mentoring program. And after 30 months with Ameriflight, flying a variety of different aircraft, they're actually eligible for an interview to come back to UPS for a crew member position and presumably spend the rest of their career here.
And for Ileana Tegneda, this is the opportunity of a lifetime.
I get to see the airline operation, and I also get to work on my pilot skills as well. So I am able to fly a full motion simulator, which allows me to better my pilot skills and prepare me in my future endeavors as an aviation professional.
So Tom, UPS, obviously a very impressive operation,
Yep.
but I think what really struck me the most was UPS's commitment to education and to bringing people into the industry and helping them make their way through the industry.
Yeah, that does look very impressive, and it's wonderful they're doing that. And obviously they recognize the need for getting more people involved in aviation because of the job shortage.
Although interestingly, UPS says they don't worry about the pilot shortage because they say we're the destination, where everybody wants to come to work, and therefore they think they're always going to have pilots.
Okay, I hope they're right.
Well, $300,000 a year for a captain, they're probably.
Yeah, and you don't get much complaints from the passengers.
No.
Well, hey, general aviation is safer than ever. The results are in after a 10-year General Aviation Joint Steering Committee initiative focused on GA safety. The goal was to decrease the fatal accident rate to no more than 1 per 100,000 flight hours. Well, a decade later, and the numbers have exceeded expectations. Last year, the fatal accident rate fell to 0.83. The decrease is thanks to an industry-wide commitment to working together for safety. Pilots are also consuming more safety content than ever, such as AOPA Air Safety Institute videos and online courses.
Well, it's that time of year again. You look outside after work and it feels like midnight. Daylight saving time has ended. With that comes less opportunity to fly while it's light outside for most people, but really that's okay. Nighttime can be a great time to fly. The AOPA Air Safety Institute has some tips to keep you safe when flying in the dark. ASI Executive Director Richard McSpadden says, chill out a bit.
Number one, just slow down. Everything takes a little bit longer at night. You're not going to be able to see things as well. Your eyes take a little bit longer to focus on things. The other thing, of course, is to make sure you pre-flight your lighting. Your dashboard lighting in terms of understand what instruments will be lit, what won't. I like to take off during the daytime, maybe right at sunset, then you got the civil twilight, and then you can kind of let the night creep up on you and adjust your lighting as it goes.
Other things to remember, use as little light as possible in the cockpit to preserve your night vision. And hey, don't be that guy. Remember to taxi with your strobes off.
Guilty, I've been that guy. I remember once early in my flying career, taxiing up on a ramp one night with all the lights blazing and blinding the line guy, and he gave me a good talking to. So
yeah, well, you deserved it.
We all learn things as we get through this process. Well, coming up after the break, cruising the coast in a Super Cub.
And a river rafting adventure for our nation's combat wounded. We'll be right back.
You always knew it was your perfect airplane. Now it can have the perfect panel. Garmin G500 TXI and Garmin G600 TXI, the next generation of flight displays.
Welcome back. AOPA Online Managing Editor Alyssa Cobb has a tough job. She's labored with taking care of the Super Cub Sweepstakes airplane until we give it to the winner. She recently repositioned the airplane from our Gulf Shores fly-in to Florida, where it will be fitted with amphibious floats. Here's a look at her trip.
The ferry flight from AOPA's Gulf Shores fly-in Alabama over to Winter Haven, Florida, is almost like a tale of two flights. We took off early Sunday morning, a beautiful flight along the Gulf Coast. My first flight for that length of time across the Gulf Coast, a beautiful area. And then we cut inland, and as we neared Tyndall Air Force Base, it was just a night and day switch. And that's the devastation from Hurricane Michael that came ashore as a Category 4 hurricane. You just saw mile after mile of neighborhoods with blue tarps over all of the houses. In some areas it looked like perhaps some homes had been wiped out completely. Trees were laid bare, most of them were fallen down, and the destruction continued. As we neared southeast of Tallahassee, though, was as if nothing had happened. At least over the wooded area where we were flying, the trees were full of their leaves, but for that short period of time, the devastation was just horrible. And it made me really thankful for all of you pilots who have given so much to help fly relief supplies in to help those who've been affected by the hurricane. And maybe some of you delivered those blue tarps that we saw on the rooftops.
Yeah, we do thank all of the pilots who have kicked in to help on the various hurricane relief efforts. By the way, all AOPA members are automatically entered to win the Sweepstakes Super Cub. You can find out more at our Sweepstakes website.
A Dutch company is getting closer to making their flying car concept a reality. PAL V is working on a car gyrocopter design called the Liberty. The design is currently undergoing certification testing. Earlier this year, PAL V introduced the production model. The company is already taking orders. Cost for the base model is just under $400,000. The Liberty is designed to transition from a car to an aircraft in just a few minutes.
Thresh Aircraft has a new model that transitions from an ag sprayer to a firefighter in just minutes. The Thresh 510G Switchback just received FAA certification. After dropping its 4,500-pound load, it can land in as little as 350 feet on unimproved strips and then reload. The airplane is powered by a GE H80 turboprop engine. The first switchbacks will be used by the Georgia Forestry Commission. And while the Thrush is just entering the firefighting fleet, a staple of aerial firefighting is retiring. One of the last Neptune P-2V firebombers took its final flight to Dawson Community Airport in Montana, where it will stay as a static museum piece. The unique airplane is powered by 2 Wright radial engines and 2 turbofan jet engines. It was designed in the 1940s for use as a patrol bomber. The P-2V is operated by Neptune Air Services. The company is now using BAE 146 tankers.
And finally, this Veterans Day weekend, we honor the men and women who have sacrificed so much to serve our country in the armed forces. AOPA Associate Web Editor David Toulis has the story about a group of Cirrus pilots who took a group of wounded warriors on a rafting trip to give them a chance to heal together.
It's a journey of healing and camaraderie. 14 combat veterans and 5 pilots took a rafting adventure through Utah's Gates of Lodore, a series of whitewater rapids along the wild and scenic Green River. The adventure was put together by pilot Tim Valentine. Tragically, Tim was killed in an airplane accident just a few weeks before the trip.
So the family wanted to go ahead and push forward and make the trip happen for the veterans and the guys who were committed to the trip and wanted to go. Tim was a warrior. He didn't have any quit, so we decided to go ahead and push forward.
Tim's passion lived on during the journey, and it served as a continuation of his legacy.
He always wanted to serve vets. Became one of his passions. He'd put him in his plane at the drop of a hat, fly him to the Mayo Clinic, get him out of jail on his word alone. He'd talk to the judge.
On this journey, Tim paid for all of the veterans' transportation costs, all of their food, their lodging, and the river guides. The swiftly moving waterway is filled with Class 2 to Class 4 rapids that etched a pathway from Wyoming to Utah. The ruby red rock cliffs stand in contrast against a blazing blue sky, and this grandiose backdrop provides the ideal place for these heroes to reflect on life and on their experiences in combat.
It's hard for men sometimes to unwind generally, and especially for soldiers who have seen a lot of stuff that maybe they shouldn't have. Sometimes it's easier for them to share when they're with other soldiers, and it helps them unwind and de-stress and heal.
The journey brought these men, many of whom were strangers at the beginning of the week, together.
You look around and everybody's kind of coming together. You got, in the beginning, you wind up with, we got groups. These guys kind of do this thing, these guys kind of do that thing. And as the trip goes on, there's going to be a handful of relationships that are going to be built here. And that's really neat to watch. Just come together and, all walks of life, and the common bond is everybody here's a warrior.
The journey was not only meaningful for the veterans, but also for the pilots who flew them.
I ended up getting a Army career officer, a commissioned officer from Fort Worth. Great guy, Bill Johnson. You know, I can tell already we're going to be friends for the rest of our lives.
The relationships formed perfectly summed up Tim's goal of moving forward, serving as the ultimate legacy for a man who gave so much to serve our veterans.
He'd be pretty proud of this. He would have done it bigger. He never stopped. It's been tough these last few weeks without him.
David Toulis, AOPA Live.
Wow.
That is quite a story. It's a remarkable program, and Tim Valentine was such a good guy. I've met him a number of times, and really, this was a mission coming right out of his heart. He was passionate about it.
But what an incredible gift for those veterans who deserve every bit of it.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it for us this week. We hope you'll join us again next week.
And send us your thoughts on the show. Our address is aopalive@aopa.org. See you next time.
The AOPA World MasterCard delivers generous cashback rewards in all of your favorite aviation categories, so you can do more of what you love, flying. And because every purchase helps to support general aviation, every cardholder is helping to protect the freedom to fly. Apply now for the AOPA World MasterCard, the best card for pilots.